So this is the new part, and I'm not going to be doing it after this week, but I promised the practitioners in training I would do it the first time. We talk a lot about honoring all world traditions and all religious paths and learning from them all, and so this is a little ritual to really get us in that groove, and it honors several of the world traditions and gives you a little tiny taste of part of their wisdom. But first we light the candle of wisdom, the light that shines out through our history on this planet and across the face of the earth. And from the candle of wisdom, I light this candle in honor of the Jewish tradition. Let love and justice flow like a mighty stream. Let peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. I light this candle in honor of the Christian tradition. Breathe in me, O Holy Spirit, that my thoughts may all be holy. Guide me then, O Holy Spirit, that I may always be holy. I light this candle in honor of the tradition of Islam. Say that the secret of secrets is this: God is one, the one and only one. God has no beginning and never was begun, and besides God, there is no one at all. I light this candle in honor of the Hindu tradition. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from the darkness to the light. Lead me from the temporal to the eternal. I light this candle in honor of the Buddhist tradition. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings rejoice in the happiness of others. May all abide in equanimity. I light this candle in honor of the native and indigenous religions. O Great Spirit, let me always remember that you are always there. And I light the final candle in honor of the earth-based religions. Divine Mother, illuminate the path of truth before me and awaken me from my own illusions.
Today's reading is from Today's reading is from Dr. Fred Alfred Wolf. Our minds are not just along for the ride in an impersonal universe. Instead, we define the fabric of reality at a fundamental level with the choices we make. The things we choose to see or not see, or more importantly, our intentions in each moment. Let's take those words into the silence. And I know centered in the oneness of all life, that right here, right now, this time is divine time. Every word spoken, every note played and sung, everything going on in this center is God expressing. And I know we stand in gratitude of the one mind, the life that we are all living. And I thank you, God, for this time together. And so it is. Amen.
So Happy New Year. Wow. A new year, a new bulletin cover, a new theme, a new everything. Our 2015 theme is Living an Extraordinary Life. And during January and February, we'll be talking about the quantum nature of consciousness. So get ready for some weirdness and some real and powerful and usable tools to change your thinking at its foundation. I mean, to change the stuff that's been there since you were born. So you can break through into this, what I'm calling an extraordinary life. So I thought it might first be useful to talk about what I mean by extraordinary. And what is an extraordinary life? Because I think most of the time, I know it's really warm in here, isn't it? Most of the time we feel like our lives are pretty ordinary. I mean, you know, we get up and we go to work and we feed the dogs and we go to work and we, I already did that. I keep trying. We go to work, we come home, we eat dinner, we veg out, we watch some TV, we feed the dogs again, we go to bed, we get up, do it all over again, and we sort of do this routine over and over and over again. And not very often, I think, do we stop to consider how extraordinary the experience of a day is. How extraordinary it is that we're even here. How extraordinary every single one of us is. You know, stop and consider that each one of us is the culmination, the product, if you will, of 14 billion years of change and growth and evolution. And when I stop to think about that, I go, wow. I mean, it's like miraculous that we're even here, that we have dogs to feed, that any of us are even around. The whole thing is pretty miraculous. And then on top of that, we're conscious. We can think about, and we've been able to create ways to get way out in space and look at how we are on the Earth and how the Earth is in relationship to the solar system and the solar system in relationship to the universe. And we get to like think about all that stuff. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. And we have this incredible planet with amazing rivers and oceans and lakes and mountains and trees and grasses and wildflowers and animals. And it is all pure miracle when you stop to think about it. So I guess I would define an extraordinary life first as one that is awake to the miracles, aware of the nature of the miracle that we walk in every single day. A life that's in tune with the gift that life is. Life itself is a gift of this 14 billion year history, and life is always bringing new gifts to us all the time. If we'll be awake to them, we start to notice them more and more. And let me define miracle as I'm using it. The way I define miracle is something that opens us up to a larger existence. Like, you know, I come from the Rocky Mountains, and I remember so many occasions where I'd come to the top of a ridge and look down into the next valley, and there would be this perfect blue reflective lake reflecting the trees and the mountaintops and the elk that were grazing along the rim of the lake. And you know, you just stop and catch your breath and kind of go, oh, your heart grows a size, you open up to something bigger. Those are the moments of miracle, and they happen all the time. They happen all the time if we're awake to them. So that's the way I'm talking about it. It's, you know, reality is constructed by us, by our perceptions. And most of us have a pretty narrow groove that we move in. And we kind of go to sleep there. We restrict ourselves to one little tiny corner of the capital R reality, which is vast beyond imagination. And so, you know, to live an extraordinary life, I think, is to be sort of on the leading edge of that movement into something larger, and always a larger way of being. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't already part of that leading edge. I think that we're part of that segment of society that is, you know, sort of standing on the edge of what we know collectively and leaning forward. We're always looking for the next way to expand ourselves and our consciousness and our thinking. And so, as far as I can determine, the edge looks like this. we all know that the world is not dead matter. It is not made up of, inert molecules. We all know, I think, in fact, that all of us, every living thing and every atom of what we call non-living is part of a whole. It's all woven together. It's what Thich Nhat Hanh and many others have called interbeing. We interbe with everything else in the world and everyone else in the world. There's an ancient way to describe it, an ancient Hindu notion called Indra's net. And Indra was the god that knitted the universe together. And Indra constructed this infinite net. And it was made of beautiful, fine, iridescent, glowing fibers. And at every place where two fibers cross hangs a jewel. And this net extends out into infinity. And it contains everything that was ever created. But if you reach down and pluck one jewel, it ripples through the whole of the net. It's interbeing, if you think about everything that way. So that when you cut a tree, it ripples through the whole. When you give someone a hug, it ripples through the whole. When you open your heart, it ripples through the whole. Everything that we do ripples through the whole of creation. And Thich Nhat Hanh calls that interbeing. And we know that in our heads. And the edge that we stand on and that we're looking over, that edge is knowing it in our hearts and living from it every single day. Not just thinking about it, but living from it. From this idea that we are one and that what we do in the world affects all creation. And that we are and can be, we can let ourselves be affected by all creation. I think that we have to expand our notion of what the world is, what the material world is, beyond what we've been comfortable with, what we've agreed to as a society. We have to expand the notion because there isn't really any division between material and spiritual. There can't be if it's all a unity, right? We know that in our heads, and we have to drop it into our hearts. We can't say, well, it's just a tree, or just a dog, or just a planet, or just a person I don't know. It doesn't matter if this is the one that I fall into. It's okay for me to be rude to people I'll never see again. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I've had hissy fits in airports. I don't really think it's okay, but somehow I let myself go, like in airports, and I have hissy fits, and not anymore. I used to have hissy fits in airports. Actually, it's been a while. But those people are part of me and I'm part of them. And that's what I'm trying to live my way into. So that wherever I go, I remember that. Because I think that's the foundation of an extraordinary life. The extraordinary life is a life of complete freedom when you stop to think about it. At the very foundational level, it's freedom from fear, freedom from worry, freedom from stress, freedom from lack. But it's even better than that. Because it's a life that feels good because you be good and you do good. You are good. You already are. We just let it out. We just open ourselves up and let it out. I think that what we have to do is tell ourselves a new story to begin with. Because the new story that will pull us into extraordinary living also begins to knit together that world of our vision, that world where not only do we have an extraordinary life, so does everyone else, and so does everything else. Because, see, it's not extraordinary if it's just yours. Everybody's got to have it, right? The world has to be an extraordinary place. And it becomes that way one heart at a time. And I say heart as that conglomeration of soul and mind and emotion that the Egyptians knew was so much more important than just the brain. They threw the brain away, but they gave the heart a special container because they understood that as the center of all this amalgam of all that we are, the heart is what counts. So the new story is as of this larger reality, living fully in all dimensions. in all dimensions, not just the narrow ones we allow ourselves in, but all dimensions. In the New Testament, you will all remember where Jesus said to his disciples, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be given unto you." That is a statement that appears over and over and over throughout all the world's religions, because it's telling us something very important. Get yourself in line with the way the cosmos works, and then the laws of the cosmos will work for you, right? That's Ernest Holmes described it as the law, our founder. He said, "This law we did not create, and this law we cannot change. We can use it correctly only as we understand it and use it according to its nature." And the fundamental underpinning of that law is this unity that I've been talking about, this oneness that we're all seemingly individuated parts of, but we're really not. At the fundamental level of creation, we are all connected. We're all one. We're all like, well, the great illustration, the one that hopefully never becomes trite, because the more I think about it, the odder and the more wonderful it seems, is like the ocean. It's all ocean, but every little wave that comes up has a distinctive character. And it comes up for a while, and then it disappears. And then it comes up somewhere else, but with a different fundamental character. That's how we are all connected, through that deep ocean level of life and creation itself. When we move ourselves into alignment with this law of life, it's like we live under this magic umbrella. And all the cool things that life can do, it starts to do for us. It seems like we have stepped into its flow. A life aligned with the way things really are bears extraordinary fruit. Extraordinary fruit. When a person is aligned, for example, with the idea of being of service to the whole, which is of service to ourselves because we're part of it, right? Of service to the whole, then that person starts to do things that other people look at and scratch their heads and go, wow. But it's just the way that person does things. It's a matter of course. When a person experiences the universe as abundant, generosity is a matter of course because there's never any doubt about the supply. So when you see someone who could use something that you have, you give it because it's easily replaced in an abundant universe. When we come to appreciate the order and connectedness of the universe, what David Bohm, the physicist, called the implicate order of the universe, there's a deep joy and cheerfulness that just kind of overtakes you, and no matter what's going on in your life, because there is this amazing universe that we are one with. When we can let go of the limitations of the old story, all of a sudden our creativity explodes because we're not limiting it anymore. We find all sorts of new ways to solve old problems. Here's what we do with the old story. We let it circumscribe our lives. And until we let go of it and step outside of it, our creativity runs in that same circumscribed little square. But once we let go of it and step forward, we look at something and from seemingly out of nowhere, comes a new way of looking at it, a new angle, a new answer, a new solution to an old problem. When we finally let go of that old story of separation, of aloneness, of fierce independence, and I'm not saying we give up our independence, but we understand how independence interrelates with interdependence. When we let go of the separation of that old story, our intuition increases by orders of magnitude. We find new perceptivity in our own way of looking at the world. When we find the kingdom, which is this whole living in the idea of interbeing or unity, everything else is given to us. Life gets really extraordinary. So that's how I define all this. And then I thought, well, gee, where do you begin with that? Where do you start? I've been thinking about it for weeks. I've been steeping myself in this idea for weeks, and it seems to me that the first place that we start is in the way we perceive and approach the world, the way we think about the world. As I said, we live in this old story that says, here are the limits. And we never get outside that story. We live according to the story that we tell ourselves about the world. And we tell the same old story and we have the same old life. We tell the same old story and we have the same old life. Most of us move through life with that one story. And we move through life using only our intellect, relying on what we already know. We know what we know, and we're not going there first, right? That's where we go first. Sometimes we open our minds a little bit to learn something new, but most of the time we function by what we already know. I mean, think about it. You drive the same way to work. If you're 5 minutes early to church, you always show up 5 minutes early. If you're 5 minutes late, you always show up 5 minutes late, right? You tend to have the same order in the morning. Yeah, it's automatic before coffee, I know, but it's the same, it's the same, it's the same. We think pretty much the same thoughts about our mothers and our fathers and our kids and our friends and ourselves all the time, over and over. We think pretty much the same thoughts about our planet over and over and over again. We tell ourselves the same story of life again and again and again based on what we already know. And I'm sure you see the problem by now. As long as we do what we do based on what we already know, nothing ever gets larger. Orville Wright said, I've lost the quote. Orville Wright said, if we worked on the assumption that what is accepted as true really is true, then there would be little hope for advancement. Right? Because we stay stuck. We say, this is the truth. And, it used to be that the earth was flat. Everybody believed it. It was our truth. And so people didn't go sailing because they were afraid they were going to sail off the edge of the earth. And then they told themselves a new story. And pretty soon, people were sailing all the way around the globe. There's a different way to live than merely from the intellect. And I guess I would call it living from awareness rather than intellect. When we step into awareness, the first thing we notice is it's bigger, it's spacious, it's free, there's some room there. When we live straight from our intellect, it's very small and constrained and rigid and tight. Awareness encompasses what we know, but it also makes room for other ways, other information to get to us. Maybe it's something that we just notice for the first time through our 5 senses. Or maybe it's an intuitive hit or download that shows us something we've never seen before. I don't know about you, but when I try to stay in awareness, that happens to me all the time. I see things I've never seen before. Or I hear things, or I feel things, or understand things without knowing how I know something new. I just do. That's intuition. Awareness connects us to this field of life. It's not an object, it's a field that's the thing that connects us all. Awareness allows us access to intuition and to new input from our senses. Because here's the thing about the human animal part of us, the body part of us. We don't see things as they are. We make a decision about how they are, and then we see what supports that decision. It's been shown over and over and over again. So if we are aware instead of just using our intellect, we can see things that we wouldn't have seen before because we make room for them. Then we make room, and that allows our senses to pick them up. It's amazing, but it's really true. That's why pretty soon eyewitness testimony isn't going to be inadmissible in court because it's pretty worthless. It is. I remember when I practiced law, seeing that over and over and over again. 2 angles on the same story yield 2 different events. I mean, the descriptions will be completely different. It's amazing. So awareness lets us use what we already know and be open to more. We've been indoctrinated by our society, I think, our common agreement, into using intellect instead of awareness. And so, as a result, we've been indoctrinated into describing rather than distinguishing or discerning. We describe something, and pretty soon we have a concept. We have an idea. We have an idea. When we distinguish something, we have an experience. Do you see the difference? Distinguishing opens us up to what is possible here. It leaves us the decision maker, because we're the ones discerning what something can be and what that something makes possible. Whereas if we have an idea, it's a little square box rather than the field. For example, Walt Disney did not describe or define what a theme park should be. And that's really good, because we'd never have Space Mountain if he had, right? And some of these other new things. He said a theme park is different than an amusement park. And it's a feeling difference. And so Disney World keeps coming up with new, cool stuff, even though Walt Disney has been in another phase of being for a long time. Another illustration. One of the spiritual practices we do here is visioning. Visioning involves opening up to the thing that wants to happen next, that wants to be born through you. Yet, I have been guilty of, and I have seen lots of other people, when we download what we received in visioning, give judgments, statements, plans, personal opinions, all that kind of stuff. And that's because they're locked into that intellectual piece. But I've also had the experience of opening up to the vision. And when you ask that question and really open to it, what's trying to happen here? What's trying to be born through me? Wow, it's way bigger. It's a feeling, an experience, rather than an idea. So learning to distinguish rather than describe is, I think, the first step in breaking through the old, rigidly defined way of living into full dimension living in all dimensions. It's the first step in waking up from that old story that we have told ourselves so often. We've drawn a little line around our lives. It's the first step towards really leaning forward on that edge into what's trying to happen next. What's trying to happen next for you in your own life? What's trying to happen next for this community? What's trying to happen next for our species, our planet, our universe? What's trying to happen next? What is the highest vision that's trying to come through all of us? Whatever you're thinking about this next week, rather than ideating about it, rather than approaching it with intellect, try to approach it with awareness, an opener, more receptive space, and see what new possibilities show up for you. When you do, if you're doing the same old thing, like driving to work the same way, do you know, after that first cold weekend when the trees all turn suddenly and you drive the same way to work and all of a sudden there's this gorgeous, flaming red tree and you kind of go, try to find something like that on your same old drive to work. You'll find it if you're open to it. That's the whole secret right there. Being open to awareness opens you up. It does. That's all it takes. So this week, be open to awareness rather than thinking, rather than having an idea about something, have an experience of it. If you have a new project you're starting at work, have an experience of it rather than a plan for it. Move into it, remaining open at the edges for what new thing might be trying to make itself known to you. That's the whole extraordinary nature of life. An extraordinary life is always a new experience because we're always shedding the parameters of the old life and stepping out into something new. So the homework this week, before we start to talk about the quantum nature of the brain, is to really try to approach life with awareness. It's a new experience. But I think the new experience will make us happy. And I also think the new experience will make the world a much better place. I think it's the only thing that can. Because the only way the world changes is when enough of us change. When enough of us say, what's the world need next? What's trying to happen here? And what's my part in it? The more of us who live extraordinary lives, the better the world becomes. So lean forward. You are already an extraordinary being. Lean forward over that edge and ask yourself, what can I be aware of in this moment? And what's calling me forward? I think the extraordinary life is our destiny because we are all. What is the lyric? Universal superstars. We are all the makers of the future, not only for us, but for the whole that we are part of. And so I invite you now to go within. Let your consciousness go within. As we pray affirmatively, we don't ask and we don't circumscribe. We simply open ourselves up and know the truth about ourselves. And so in this moment, I know the truth about the universe, that there is only one here. And aside from that one, there is no one else. Each one of us is a partaker of that one life, a seemingly individuated part of that one whole, yet so interwoven, so interconnected, that where we are, all of it is, and where any part of it is, we are. So that same power and wisdom and intelligence and joy that created the universe and that has continued to unfold as the life of the universe for 14 billion years is in us. It is us. Right where we are. So I know for each person in this congregation, in this community, that awareness becomes a way of life. Openness to what is next. Openness to the greater yet to be becomes a way of life. A simple awareness of the possible replaces restriction, limitation, lack, sadness, despair. As we lean forward into the next phase of our being with open hearts and open minds and open spirits, just allowing whatever it is that is coming through us to be extraordinary, to be miraculous, to be wonderful, to lift us up into joy, into solidarity, into love for all of the cosmos, into greater love for ourselves than ever before. I know that this community leans forward into extraordinary living with ease and with grace and with simple, open awareness of the miracle that life is. And because I know this is the truth of us, I say thank you. I thank this power and presence and intelligence of the universe for our time together today, for everyone in this community, and for this amazing life itself. This beautiful, up and down, odd, wonderful, gorgeous thing called life. And in deepest gratitude, I simply release these words. I let it go because I know that the universe has it and that the universe always says yes. So I say thank you and I let it be. And we say together, and so it is.
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering.
going to remember. We now have an opportunity to contribute to and support the work of this center, but more importantly than that, we have an opportunity to simply turn and acknowledge our blessings. Be grateful for a moment for all that you have in your life, the people that you love and who love you, the roof over your head, the hopefully full belly, all of the wonderful things that you have, but more importantly, all of the wonderfulness that you are. Just take a moment and be grateful for that. And know that as you give to this community strives to give back to you in every way that is possible. And so when the basket goes by, whether you are able to give or not, please just bless it and bless the abundance of this community. And let's affirm together. Gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
Gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
For I know that as I give, so do I receive. And so it is.
I want to introduce to you the people that are going to save this planet. The people that are going to make a difference. Come here. This is Zane.
Hi,
all right? Zane, tell him what you're going to do. Tell him what you're going to do.
I'm going to talk about the Earth cycle.
Yes. And this is Reed.
Hi, Reed.
I'm going to talk about the speed of the Earth.
Yes. Laura. This is Laura.
I am going to talk about how a year passes by.
Yes. And why? What makes a year? Goes around one time. Okay. All right. Christopher, it's your turn. What are you going to talk about? To save the earth. What did we talk about? We forgot. Shepherd, do you remember?
No.
No. Okay. Here.
Nobody will remember.
Stand up here so people can see you. This is Christopher right here.
Hi, Christopher.
Christopher is our really smart kid. And this is Shepherd. Can you look at Shepherd and say hi?
Hi.
Hi, okay. And now, our ladies, they are so brilliant. Oh, you weren't going to talk, but you are. Oh, we forgot everything.
No, I was going to talk about why we should treat the Earth like family.
Treat the earth like family.
who
This
is that, Mark?
Callie, and this is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
And this is our brand new person. Her name is Maya.
Hi, Maya.
I'm going to talk about how we can pick up trash and really help the Earth.
Yes. Okay, everybody. They really are our future. They really are. Thank you, everybody. Come on, let's go.
Sure. Let's sing to the kids.
You are beautiful, courageous, and wise beyond your ages. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are splendid, you're unique, with the whole world at your feet. This I know for you, as I know myself. You are brother to the flowers and sister to the trees. This I know for you, as I know myself. As all life lives within you, you are one with God, it's true. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself. This I know for you, as I know myself.
Thank you for being here, all you beautiful future You beautiful earth warriors, saviors of the future. I know it, he's right. They're gonna save our planet. Yes, you wonderful trailblazers that you are. Yes. The kids are amazing. They are amazing. A couple of announcements and then we can go eat. It is our New Year's feast today. We have all sorts of wonderful food back in the social hall, including all those traditional. Oh, the band ate it all.
Sorry about that. That's what we do.
There's tons of food. There's all the traditional good luck foods for New Year's, so come and celebrate with us. Next Sunday is our annual meeting, and it'll be right after the service. Over on the table are 50 copies of our annual report, which we have put together to tell you about some of the things that went on around here, give you our budget for next year and our breakdown of what we spent this year. So I hope you will take a look at it and come next Sunday with your questions and comments and ideas about what we should do next. Friday, January 16th at 7 p.m. And I can't believe it, but this is like week after, Friday after this coming one. It's already going to be the middle of January. Blink your eyes and it'll be June, right? Anyway, Friday, January 16th, 7 p.m., we'll host a community-wide showing of a film by Tim Wise called White Like Me. It's been called the single most important discussion of hidden racism and how it threatens our whole society because, as I said, whatever happens to one person happens to us all and vice versa. So I think it's going to be a real opportunity for personal breakthrough, but also we're going to have some discussion around the film. So please, 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 please come. Friday, January 16th, 7 p.m. right here. It's free. We have 2 classes starting, one tomorrow, both tomorrow night. We have Foundations and the Essential Ernest Holmes. They're both remarkable classes, and if you've never taken a class before, Foundations is the place to start, and you can talk to me about it after the service. The back of the program has a whole bunch of other stuff that's coming up. There's always 10 or 12 things happening around here. But one thing that I want to draw your attention to is if you grocery shop at Kroger or Dorothy Lane Market, please, if you so desire, you can designate us on their community rewards program. It's called at Kroger, or Good Neighbor program at Dorothy Lane Market. You just name us as the recipient of your shopping points and we get a check. It's wonderful. So if you have any questions about that, please call the office during the week and Clara can help you get it done. Finally, if you would like prayer for any reason at all, please see one of the beautiful ladies with the teal or white prayer shawls on. They are all professional prayer practitioners, and they've studied for a lot of years so that they can just see right through whatever's going on to the truth of it and help you see it too. So they offer it to you free after the Sunday service as a 1-minute miracle. So just walk up to them and say, I'd like prayer, and they will know what to do from there. If you want to be incognito about it, you can leave a written prayer request in the prayer chest back there by the door, and the practitioners pick those up and pray for you during the week. I think that's it from me. I haven't missed anything vital, I hope. So let's do we have a new closing affirmation, of course, right? First Sunday of the new year. So let's stand up and do that, and then after that we'll sing Kenny's version of Auld Lang Syne, the Stylistics version of Auld Lang Syne. Here's the new affirmation. Universal wholeness is seeking expression through me.
Universal wholeness is seeking expression through me.
Its nature is goodness, truth, beauty, and wisdom. Its nature is goodness, truth, beauty, and wisdom. I allow it to shine through me today and always.
I allow it to shine through me today and always.
Thank you, Ernest Holmes. And so it is.
So it is.
Happy New Year, everybody.